Live from Spaceship Love at 9,000 feet in the Colorado Rockies, here's Grandpa.
Yeah, I tell you, Santa Claus has done arrived in town. Santa Claus is here in town, right here on the Coyote Medicine Show, only on the Hazy Radio Network. Santa Yodi at your service, babies, taking you into a really nice flight into the world of practical application of real love in the 21st century life. How to become that which you are. How to become a natural human person, gifted and amazing in creation and able to substantiate and care for themselves, because creation cares for you so greatly that it provides all that you find needful and necessary instantly and momentarily. We do away with all processes of industry and agriculture and things of this nature. All of the organization and the unsynchronicity of this old paradigm dies away, and all of its what do they call superstructure right along with it, the background noise that kept everything going, the ugliness, the coldness, the hardness, the darkness, the fear, the anxiety, the pain, all of that takes a ride as we just ascend, come into the full presence of the person that we are, and just simply realize our oneness with creation. It's really an easy process. We make a lot of bullshit out of it because, you know, we've been pretty raveled in the unraveling, man, I'm telling you. We've been down that road more than a time or two, but babies, we's rocking it back into a real reality where now we become empowered by demonstrating to ourselves the nature of our gifts and powers. Now, these guys here, Kyra and Ken, or Cary, what do you prefer to be called?
You can call me, people know me as Cary or Kirastar, either one.
Okay, cool. Then we'll call you Cary Kirastar. Then
there you go.
There she is, and this is Ken the Mystery Man. He's a powerhouse of love, babies. You ought to see him when he's, well, I'm not going to talk about it. But anyway, he'll reveal himself here shortly. He's not as shy as he appears to be. So. Babies, we're rocking and talking here, and these guys are the authors of, where's that fine book, boy? It's back there in the background. Yeah. We'll get it out for you later so you can see it here on the radio. The 21st century human
21st century superhuman. And I'm the author, and Ken is part of our team that's traveling with me, and he's part of Evolved University that teaches energy mastery. And
I'm their fucking cheerleader, man. I help them, win the game, man.
And we're yours, too.
Rah, 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 shish, boom, bye.
There you go.
Yep, the cheerleader.
So tell us how you got into this, Cary. What on earth ever possessed you to think that you could instruct people in how to become a 21st century superhuman person? I mean, who the hell do you think you are?
It's a funny thing. I mean, I think for some of us, when these kind of things start happening, it's almost like a switch goes on. I think I had a switch go on, Ken had a switch go on, and there's just, even though we've been pushing towards waking up for years and years and years, and we've been doing all these, connecting with the universe and everything, suddenly that all funnels together into one point, and it just says, now you're on, and bring forth what you came here to bring forth. And really, that's what it's all about. And so I have many years out in the world, running health institutes and teaching. We healed my broken arm in 6 hours. Back in the 1980s with body electronics, that doctors wanted to do surgery and put 2 pins in. Yeah. And, I fire walked with Tony Robbins. We used to put him on stage. I used to take people to swim with wild dolphins. So I have all these things that I've done for a lot of years that taught me what a magical human is all about. And I know that we're in this really important key time where we are unraveling from an old world that is based on a lot of things outside of love. And really that's what 21st Century Superhuman is all about. It's how we access these abilities in this sense of our beingness that is based in unconditional love, and beyond that, just that we can do anything in this world. And the world, what Ken teaches that's so cool is the world is not as solid as we think it is. And we literally can change the world around us simply with our thought.
Wow. Now that's a stretch, ain't it? So you're a pro at this kind of stuff, Mr. Ken?
Well, I wouldn't say if I'm a pro at it. I mean, I'm definitely learning and teaching as we go. But, I mean, honing oneself and working on self-mastery is definitely the way to develop those abilities or those skills. But, yeah, I mean, we do. I mean, you create your own reality. Everything is a mirroring, so anything that you do, you can pretty much put in this reality. So, I mean, if you want to manifest it here, you can manifest it.
So meaning that, what? Now, when you say you can manifest anything, what do you mean by that? Do you mean like, if I just sit here and think, I want a banana split, one will pop into my hands? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, in the most extreme forms, yes, that could be possible. But, I mean, we're working at a more, I guess, beginner level in manifesting things. But, I mean, you can literally put intent on something.
Yeah.
Like I was coming on this trip and I had ran out of an oil and I wasn't able to order any more of this oil. And I put intent in my mind to run into this oil on my trip, that I needed to get some more of this oil. And pretty much the first place we stopped in Nebraska, I walk into this lady's house and on the table is the brand and the kind of oil.
Wow. Isn't that
so
awesome?
That's what I'm talking about when we're talking about manifesting things.
And she gave you the bottle.
And she gave it to me because, of course, I didn't want to pay for it. That I just needed a bottle. And she gave me a half a bottle. So,
wow.
I mean, it was a beautiful thing. And this is what we're talking about, that when you get into the flow and your life is...
Synchronicity.
Yeah.
Synchronicity.
It's completely all synchronicities, and you pretty much can go through it, and I mean, things that you need just pop right up. People that you're supposed to meet just pop right up. I mean, it's perfect.
The 21st Century Superhuman really addresses how our thoughts create our reality, because there's several things going on right now. And we quote NASA to say how we are in these greater fields of light where particles of light are moving faster and faster, and that is literally activating our pineal gland. We are, through quantum physics, getting to understand that our thoughts literally do create our reality. And so what we're teaching is a lot of kind of elementary steps to understand that, because we've been living for literally thousands of years thinking the world is outside of us, sort of the way it appears. And the truth is, quantum physicists say the quarks, protons, and electrons are just waiting to come into form as our thought is placed upon them. So the biggest thing to shift at this point is how we are thinking internally about this creation that we live in and how we're relating to it.
Yep. That's beautiful. That's totally where we need to be and where we're actually at. It's only a matter of really becoming conscious. Most people are so used to being powerless. This is why I come out, from this kind of contrary place to start with. As most people are essentially used to feeling powerless and overwhelmed by the system, the government, the courts, etc. I mean, it seems like the fingers of law enforcement and the judicial have threaded into everybody's life in one way or another. There's all these domestic disputes and quarrels over kids and everything going on. And so people are used to just feeling like they're going to lose no matter what,
And that's what we talk about that's so exciting, that those things are not as they appear.
Yeah.
And that there's ways that we can move beyond them John Hagelin, I love this statement. John Hagelin, who's now the head of the Transcendental Meditation Organization, but he's probably one of the brightest quantum physicists on the planet. He was in The Secret and What the Bleep. And he says the field of creation around us is like effervescent ginger ale.
Yeah.
It's just waiting for our attention upon it to bring new things into form in a new way.
Yeah.
And so you're right. You know, we're used to these old systems that kind of wove us into thinking that we were powerless. And yet what we do is something we call Jedi training that teaches us about how powerful we really are. And we kind of have to take baby steps at first, like you were talking about manifesting the banana split in my hand. Well, we know that we can do that.
Oh, absolutely,
and
yeah.
even we are unwinding ourselves from these thousands of years of, we call it old programming. It's like an old computer program. And we are now, that's what 21st Century Superhuman is about, and Evolved Ministry and Evolved University is about. We're now getting an upgrade to our system by our choice.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Evolved Ministries, Evolved University. Give us a little background on that, if you would, please. Yeah.
Well,
that's an essential organization. It's not really 21st Century Superhuman, as I understand it, but it's your background, right? It's what you, okay.
Right, yep.
And we're collaborating.
Michael Grubb is the founding person of Evolved Ministry. Founded about 10 weeks ago. I came in right at the beginning. It's pretty much an energy school, teaches
online.
all aspects online. I kind of met Cary in a weird situation. She just pretty much appeared, found her book, realized that needed to be part of Evolved Ministry, and then just brought Cary over to meet Mike, and the rest is history with that. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. Me and Cary meeting together and bringing new curriculum to the site, because we're pretty much building the curriculum. And
so 21st Century Superhuman, the book, is now part of the Evolved University curriculum.
Oh, cool.
Which kind of instantly happened when we all met. We just recognized each other.
Yeah, very similar everything. Yeah. Okay, I got you.
So, and her stuff is a good starting a good starting point. You know, we're going to use that as lesson 1 because it's real basic. It gets you kind of into thinking this way and realizing that you do, affect your reality literally. You know, and then getting into more of the advanced stuff that Evolved University teaches, which is all aspects of energy work and metaphysical. And connecting with elements and all sorts of good stuff.
Sounds like you're connected with an ET energy. Is that true? Do you have an ET energy working with you too?
Well, dimensionals, they're always working with us. So.
Okay, well that's kind of vague, but in other words, yeah, of course, right? Yeah.
Ken has really awakened to a level where he's a pretty advanced soul, as is Michael Grubb, who's running the Evolved University.
Yeah.
People can look for evolvedministry.com online, and they can join it as a member. It's pretty low membership, and begin learning these things. 21st Century Superhuman, our site is down, getting rebuilt right now, but it's 21stCenturySuperhuman.com, and 21st Century Superhuman can be found on Amazon as paperback and Kindle.
Yeah, there's a link. If you can go to my Facebook at Ken Chorley, Chorley, and you can go on there, and there's actually an affiliate link for Evolved Ministry. And that's the best way, I would say, to go ahead and check it out. It has the list of all the different levels of memberships. And we have them ranging from $10 a month all the way up to $70. And so there's, games, forums, video lessons. There's at every level. There's amazing information, techniques, training, meditations, just everything to prepare you to, awaken, open your pineal gland up. Open up all your chakras. It's just endless. So check that out on Facebook. And there's a link right there.
And the cool thing is we're traveling right now. We're doing a 3-week tour in Colorado that is a combination of 21st Century Superhuman and Evolved Ministry. And we see ourselves traveling the next couple of years. So if people want us to come to their region, or we see us going all the way around the world. So We will be available in person to do presentations. I do a slideshow, and then Ken does some literally demonstrations and teaches people how to start doing energy mastery. And we've got some great things going on. We've even got a 21st Century Superhuman song.
Yeah.
And so people can find me on Facebook also at Cary Kirastar Ellis. It's Cary, and my last name is Ellis, Ellis. And we've also got a 21st Century Superhuman page and a 21st Century Superhuman group, and some events and different kinds of things.
Awesome, awesome. So you'll be doing these gatherings like in Pagosa Springs and Grand Junction, and maybe over on the Front Range, Boulder, Denver area somewhere, and perhaps here in Crestone too before you head on back to Michigan.
Absolutely, that is correct.
Yeah, and Grandpa might show up at one or two of those just for fun.
That would be fun.
Just because, I like to have fun. I like to party.
Who doesn't like to have fun?
Yeah, I betcha, babies. But this ought to be some of the most interesting moments of your life, just like you receive here on the Coyote Medicine Show. Moments of awakening and awareness of what you may not have been aware of before, and how more proficiently to guide and direct the energies of creation through your natural flowing heart, man. I mean, this is essentially what they're into and what we're into too. We're all in this together. We're one big happy family. I hope you can feel the unification in that.
Absolutely.
Guys. And these guys, awesome energy. I hope you're feeling their energy. Is just off the charts, man.
Let me just throw in one of my favorite quotes is because we teach some things from the ancient Aramaic in 21st Century Superhuman, which was a language that came onto Earth already as a complete language. It didn't develop, and there's reasons that we believe that happened. But in Aramaic, the word heaven, it's the language Yeshua or Jesus actually spoke in, the word heaven means community of love right here and now. And that's what we are. We're part of the community of love, and every single person here on the planet can be part of that. We invite you to join us in being the community of love here and now. And that's what's creating a new civilization here on planet Earth. We already know we're connected with literally millions of people worldwide now that are joining together in communities and just connecting to hold this new way of being on the planet.
Unconditional love, that's the key.
Yeah.
Unconditional love.
And what is that? Unconditional love. What is that? People talk a lot about it. Is it something you can live and experience and be? Is it something you really, really do feel, that you genuinely can look at another person and make no judgment whatsoever? Is that a state that you can get to?
That is the state to be in. That is you want to develop and hone yourself, you must be in that unconditional love state. That's the harmonious state, connection with all, oneness with everything, seeing everything as yourself, everything as a reflection, and
so
feeling everyone.
It's just a matter then of understanding and seeing what's really happening here. Then.
And in 21st Century Superhuman, we talk about the old culture. And the old culture was based in blame, fear, hostility, judgment, and control. So if we ever notice that we're in any of those items, blame, fear, hostility, judgment, or control, and some of it can be really subtle, but if we notice ourselves thinking or feeling in that way, we just know we have to remove that old content from ourselves and move into a state of love. And part of the understanding of that is we say the matrix or the world around us can only mirror that which we are giving it. So that's how powerful we are. And the book really goes into all the details of how this works, and that's what we teach when we're out and about with people.
I do apologize for not having read the whole thing before we got started here, but of course I knew it was like grokking 100%. So
we just brought you a copy now.
So but it's awesome. These guys, this is an opportunity of a lifetime, to tell you the truth, babies, just to step into your own empowerment. So if you have the opportunity to make it to one of these gatherings and Pagosa Springs, Grand Junction, Denver, Boulder. You stay tuned here. We'll keep you updated on details.
And we'll have it on meetups and Facebook events.
Anywhere here in the Colorado region, baby, you're invited, and you should get there. And it's like, you know, these guys work by a donation basis. They're cool as all get out, and the vibe is just right. It's, you know, you want to feel the members of your tribe and meet a few more of them. I'd suggest attending one of these gatherings. Yeah.
Rock on.
Yeah. So, and
Good
babies,
stuff.
it's going to be just so powerful, just like what you get here on the Medicine Show, only more so, because this is live and in person, man. You can't beat it, man. That's where the energy is real and in your face, man.
The front lines.
The magic, babies. Yeah. Pick up this torch and carry it for a while. It's going to be fun, babies. You want to be there, I tell you. Besides that, I know I can tell by these guys have been kind of sedate since they arrived here, hanging out with Grandpa. But you know me, Mr. Sensitive. You know these guys will party your ass off. Just, you know, give them a chance, man. You know, and babies, you're gonna have some fun with these guys. I tell you.
Right on.
Yeah.
And we love your rap, Grandpa. We love your medicine show. I mean, I think everybody on the planet wants to be listening to music live on the radio ought to be hearing the rap that you lay down along with it, because it is so good. It really is. I mean, you are the poet of the moment. You're the poet of these days. And you got it going on.
I'm putting some of it to music now, too. I'm doing rap and roll. I actually got a song on here. I kind of make fun of that song that Bruce Springsteen just did about Santa Claus is coming to town. I kind of make fun of that. I call it Santa's Coming, and it's rock and rap. It's me doing a little poetry to a little rock and background about Santa's coming, you know. So it's pretty fun.
It's a great song.
Yeah, and I'm going to do more, you know, a little bit of this and that, you know, just because we're listener-supported radio, and, you know, we got to raise a little revenue, stay alive here, and be able to journey and do what we need to do here to keep things expanding in the glorious way that it needs to expand.
You know, if every person donated you $1 or $2 a month, it'd probably keep you going in good form. And, you know, that's how we're moving into this new culture. Michael Tellinger, who wrote Slave Species of the Gods, talks about...
He's a sweetheart, man.
He is awesome, and you can find him on YouTube
we'll
as
get
well.
him on the Medicine Show. He's one of my buddies in South Africa. We'll get him here one of these days.
Right on. Yeah. And, you know, this is how we're moving into a culture where we share and we give, and we're moving beyond the old corporate advertising industry, and we're all doing things in new ways. Ken and I, as we travel, we're pretty much on a bare minimum budget. We do everything by love offering, and, you know, we find that money is just a form of transmitting energy, and there's many other ways what we need can come to us. And we have friends who share their food and they share their place, and you know, if people gave you just $1 or $2 here and there, it would help you keep going to produce the radio show, because
I do this basically on social insecurity, and then I got to support the network too, because you know, our lady of the moment, Zita Ost, she actually funds the whole doggone network herself, and so we got to help her out with that.
And this is the wave. This is the new wave that we're moving into. Literally, we are in what the ancients called the shift of the ages, and we are moving into a new civilization based in love. That which is of the old form will not be able to sustain itself as we move into these greater fields of light.
It's true.
It's very exciting, really. It's an exciting time to be here.
Oh, it is, man. That's why we're all here, and that's why, you know, the traditionalists, they say there's 7 billion souls, but spirits tell me we got like 10 billion, maybe 11, coming up on 11 billion hanging out here now, because everybody wants to be here for this.
They do want to be here for this.
It's the party of the ages. It's the rock and it's time to be alive, I'll tell you.
It is.
I'm hanging on by a thread, kids. I've already slipped on the banana peel and I'm in the grave, but I've got my fingernails planted in the grass and I'm pulling myself out real quick.
Yeah. We're feeding them green shakes. The fourth part of 21st Century Superhumans, all about cleansing and detox and high frequency nutrition. Grandpa's got green stuff in his mustache.
Oh my God, I'm had it, man.
Spirulina and Orma's super greens and chia seed.
All sorts of good stuff.
Yeah.
it gets any better, I'm going to have to start wearing diapers, man.
Those tribes in South America and Mexico could take one spoonful of chia and they could run 100 miles. So we have chia every morning in our green shakes.
Oh, cool. You know, Boom, my buddy down the street here, my musician artist friend down the street here, he's very big promoter of chia. He went down to Mexico in search of the great truckload of chia.
Yeah, I want to meet him. I love chia. Chia is, people know of chia because of chia pets, but it's a really potent, cool little black seed, looks kind of like poppy seeds. And, I just read about this tribe. There's a book called Born to Run. It's awesome. I just read it in a couple hours the other night at a friend's house in Denver. And they soak the chia and kind of almost ferment it a little bit, but the sprouting process begins, and then they chug that stuff down. It kind of swells up when you soak it. And people remember chia pets, you know. But you can literally grow chia even, but just you can go into the health food store or whatever and buy it, and it's a rockin' sustaining food, as is spirulina. Christopher Hills used to work with spirulina and was going to feed the children around the world with it. It has nutrients for the brain, really potent kind of vegan, high protein foods.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff, that's for sure.
Yeah. So in our 21st Century Superhuman green shakes, we talk about how to really make them so potent that when you have those, you almost don't even care if you have anything else. But, you know, we eat other foods, but it's a really sustaining...
You share the recipe for that at your seminar?
Oh, yeah. Share it at the seminar, and it's in the book as well.
Rock on, baby. See how set up you are, guys? Just get there, you know.
Set up. Set up.
Yeah. So it's awesome to have you guys over here in Colorado again. I haven't seen Cary in a couple of years. She finally come back, and that just scared my old heart half out of my chest. It's so great to see you and to have you back.
It's so great to be here with you. And, you know, as much as whatever crazy things Facebook does, I mean, we're friends because of Facebook. We're so grateful for this kind of global culture that it's sort of stimulated us connecting so much better with people other places who are like-minded.
I think we're going to, these connections will become far more literal here as we go along. I think we can toss the passport shit out the window. And some of our cousins are going to help us out.
New Earth Nation is working on that. The One People and New Earth Nation, if check them out online, they're some of my favorite groups. 250,000 people joined New Earth Nation last summer after they first kind of came out. And this is kind of an umbrella for global community, going beyond the old suppressive legal system and the old suppressive governments, creating there's attorneys involved in all kinds of things.
Okay, alongside of that, on the spirit aspect of it, there's this change going on. I would call it an identity crisis, where we've so identified with countries and tribes and nations and so forth. Like that allegiance, that type of loyalty, that type of commitment, or any kind of obligation you feel in that direction is being challenged greatly right now by the internal forces of your own heart, basically. Because it's the state of humanity and where consciousness is right now. So this is kind of undividing the people, even as the assholes try to foment war on top of us. This is undividing the people. Soldiers are literally starting to hug each other.
Oh, yeah. Stuff, you know? And people putting flowers in the ends of guns. I mean, so you had mentioned the scrolls earlier, too, which I was led to in Peru. I don't know if we want to bring that up at this point, but they literally... They are an amazing dispensation. This guy...
Well, let's explain your association with them and what they are. You know?
Well, before I went to Peru, I was being told while I was writing the book last year that I was going to go to Peru this spring. And I was like, okay, universe, you're going to have to provide the way. And so someone donated some funds to me. I bought the ticket. Before I went, someone connected me with a guy over there in Lima who started saying, you have to come and stay in Lima 7 days, and I need to share these scrolls with you. And so he started sending me sections out of them, and I was just like, what are these scrolls? I kept wondering and trying to figure it out. Well, I finally got there, and all the people who were going to go with me did not end up going, and I ended up there by myself in Lima at a hostel.
Wow.
And so this guy, he doesn't speak a lot of English, and I don't speak a lot of Spanish. I speak enough to get by, but we were typing back and forth through Google Translator, which was great. And he came to the hostel where I was, and I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to meet somebody in a strange country who I have no idea what they're like. And the second I met him, I was just totally relieved because his appearance and his energy was like a Tibetan monk.
Wow.
And very high frequency energy and beautiful soul. And his name is Alan or Angel. He's on my Facebook. And he said, I don't know if I can say this on the radio.
You can say anything.
All right. He said he had a big, tall, blue Syrian being, like from Sirius, who comes to him and told him he was to give me copies of the scrolls.
Cool.
And so he took me on the metro bus out to his sister's house, which was like an hour outside of Lima, and he sorted through all these scrolls he had, and he gave me a roll to carry with me of literal their first generation copies of these original scrolls.
Wow.
This man was born in 1931 in Chile, and by 1960 to 1978, for 18 years, he had this switch go on, and he's considered by many down there to be another incarnation of Yeshua, or the man we call Jesus, and who was given this dispensation that's in addition to the Dead Sea Scrolls. They were given in Spanish. They have kind of a Catholic overlay. They're as big as blueprints, and they are written in all these really straight lines, this perfect straight handwriting. And it took him 12 minutes to download one of these big things. They have pictures on them.
I've seen him. That's an amazing feat just to be able to do that in 12 minutes.
He was like an automatic writing machine, basically. And it definitely is coming from higher mind. People can read these online. I'll tell you in just a minute where. But what the scrolls talk about, and the reason I brought this up right now, is that religions, governments, and monetary systems are not of source, and they will disintegrate, and we will emerge into a new civilization based in love. And when you start thinking about how do we live without governments and monetary systems, they talk about the strange system.
How do we live with them? God bless it.
I know. They talk about the strange system of gold and how people charge money for money.
Yeah.
And how out of sync with the true intention of Source for us to live in this world as a love-based civilization. There's so many things I could share because there's much that they go into and the other cosmology that I had to learn about in order to write this book. But
it groks right along with what I know.
It does.
Groks right along. It does.
And so what the scrolls say is there's 3 things that will help kick off this civilization of love. And one is the world uniting as one. They use the symbol of the United Nations. And that's like what you were mentioning, Grandpa Peter, about we're going beyond countries and governments, and to know that we are basically one people on the planet.
Absolutely.
And then the second thing they say is the ETs, and they call 60 of the scrolls are on UFO technology, and they talk about them being vehicles of consciousness.
Yeah, it's like having a dog or a horse. Here, boy, here, boy. You know, they are living machines.
And they're living machines that emerge out of consciousness.
Yeah.
And that is exciting when you really get into that.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is the scrolls. The scrolls say that they themselves, they are called the divine science, and they are also called the message of the Alpha and Omega, the fifth book of Revelation, the scrolls of the Lamb of God. So they are a dispensation for this time, and they're really cool. They're in Spanish. Your browser can read them. The sites are Alpha, ALFAY, Omega. So it's Alpha and Omega, but Alpha with an F, ALFAY, Omega.com, and then there's a second site, .pe. And so there's 230 of those scrolls at those sites, and you can go to the sites, read them on your browser. They do have the Spanish sort of Catholic overlay, and I think they were given to that population as kind of like another wake-up call, because it's where a dominant sort of religious, pattern was still overlaying the culture so strongly.
Yeah.
And but they're incredibly good. And so here's what's really amazing that happened. So I met the first guy in Lima. Then my friend Caroline showed up down there, and we went and visited in Lima. There are 60 of the scrolls on display. And they're really beautiful. They're in color. They have pictures of flying saucers. You can see them on the websites. Then we got on a bus and we went all the way around Peru to the other side, to Cusco in the Sacred Valley where Machu Picchu is. And the first thing we did was get ready to move from one hostel to another. We were moving to this little teeny Emmanuel hostel, which was wonderful, run by a mama and her children, very family oriented.
I want to go there.
Oh man, I can't wait to go back. We're going to take people there. We're actually hoping to go in November, December.
Take a group,
which is their summer, and
we'll
take
help
a group.
You promote that here on
the
radio. Be part of our fundraising.
Yeah,
effort.
we'll put that together pretty shortly here.
Yeah.
So I'm moving over to this other hostel and carrying our gear, and I have the roll with the scrolls in it, the tube, and another guy who looks like a Tibetan monk and has long hair, whose name now is a dear friend of mine called Atipak, who's kind of a seer actually, said to me, "What's in the roll?" And I said, "The scrolls of the Lamb of God." And he said, "I know those scrolls. I've been teaching those scrolls for 20 years.
Wow.
And he said, "Furthermore, you need to go meet Joel, who runs the Shaman Vegan restaurant in Cusco, for his brother, who's an Andean shaman. He's been teaching the scrolls for 30 years. And furthermore," so I went down to see Joel. Atipak went with me. It turns out these guys know the first guy in Lima. But nobody told me to come and find them. The second I got to Cusco, there I was, and I met Joel. And they just looked at me and they said, "We know you are being led by a hand of the divine." And because there's no way I could have just found them. And I felt like I was living between the Celestine Prophecy and the Da Vinci Code. Those are two pretty powerful books. And so there is a book coming forth on this journey. And
awesome.
Hopefully a movie at some point after the book. And we have it's just been a really exciting addition. And reading the scrolls just confirmed everything that's in 21st Century Superhuman. I went, the book is right on. What we're teaching about quantum physics and change on the planet and moving into a civilization based in love is accurate and truthful and powerful.
And she speaks from
now.
experience in the realm. She speaks from direct experience. So this is like, it's not exactly an instruction manual. It's like, this is what I've done and this is what we're doing, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, just keep that microphone over there and keep telling us about all the good things that are going on in the 21st century superhuman land. You know, it's like one of the most amazing experiences of my life was when I got you on before. We just talked about it for a little while, but it's like, you know, it's like how you guys are talking about, you're getting all kinds of confirmation that your path is right because other people are doing it too, and they're coming up with the same stuff and the same material. Well, it's the same here. You guys are, you know, there's just a few people at the moment in time that grok with this stuff that I'm rocking. But you know, you guys are another one of those connections.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's more and more of us all the time. And because, here's what's really exciting. And I want Ken to share his journey in a minute because he had a really powerful awakening experience. What is going on? And this is corroborated by NASA. I remember in the 80s seeing in Scientific American articles that we had moved into greater fields. They called it dark light. But scientists had no idea what it was. They were trying to figure it out at the time. And now we know we've moved into something called a photon band, which is a big donut-shaped field of faster-moving particles of light.
The spiral torus of life.
The spiral torus of life. And
can I interject here just
please
one moment?
do. Absolutely.
Okay, at the center of what I see as the photon, what they call the photon belt, I see as a great big old spiral torus. It's reflected around our heart inside. But it's like at the center of the universe.
Yes.
And Mother Earth's natural place is where the donut hole is.
Yes.
She's the heart of the universe. And
Yes.
guess what? What does that make us? We're that same heart too, babies.
That is right on, Grandpa.
Yeah.
It is all about the heart. And all the great teachings of all time are about the heart. Even Heart Math Institute out in California, which was founded by a guy from the family of the Grand Ole Opry in Tennessee, and there's a bunch of other really great people that are part of it. They've done a bunch of research and demonstrated that when we are in love, compassion, and gratitude, we go into a state called heart coherence, and we are more healthy, more synchronicities happen in our lives. Everything becomes vital and true.
Yeah.
So it's love, compassion, and gratitude. So we always want to notice, am I in love, compassion, or gratitude? And if I'm not, how do I move back into that? They even sell this little pincher thing you can put on your finger and connect to your phone or your computer that'll give you biofeedback and tell you when you're in heart coherence.
Oh, now we're getting technical.
Yeah. And they say about 20 minutes a day for like 3 weeks, you can like be proven in heart coherence.
Wow.
But what's happening, because we're moving, and I show this in the slideshow, I literally show pictures of the cosmos, our solar system, the Milky Way, that show where we are in relation to all these things, and how this activation is going on. So we are in an activation. There's something called precession of the equinoxes, and it is when an astrological sign is on the horizon at spring solstice for 2,000 years. So in Atlantis, they were at the sign Leo. Leo was on the horizon at spring equinox every year.
Yeah.
For 2,000 years. And actually, that's when the Sphinx was built. It had a lion's face. And then we went through an earth cataclysm, and then we went down through 6 2,000-year cycles of darkness. So we were in a darker part of the field of existence. Well, right now, at the dawning of the age of Aquarius, I'm sure you've probably played that song on this radio show.
I can't imagine.
We're exactly opposite where Atlantis was. We're as advanced as they were.
Yeah.
And we are now moving into greater fields of light.
Oh, and had we not interfered with this process, by the way, it would have gone the same way the Atlantean one went, which is blow itself all to hell
Exactly.
again, which we couldn't allow to happen. So we actually came back from the future into the past as soul presences and birthed ourselves as babies into this. And I'm talking to most of you that are human. Not everybody fits this qualification, but a good share of us do. Came here as soul presences from a future point and altered the timeline. We've done it throughout the generations since the beginning of time. You know, the first digression had to be cured, and it's taken all of these eons. But we finally got to that place that wasn't regenerative, so we came back here and turned it at just the right moment so it became regenerative.
Yep. And that is very deeply...
Subtle as all get out.
Yeah. That is very deeply addressed in 21st Century Superhuman. We talk about timelines and how to change them. And many people always say to me, do I know you from a past life? And I say, maybe you know me from a future life, because many of us jumped in from the future right now to be here as part of this powerful change.
I got that last night with the gathering we had.
Yeah,
that gentleman, he was definitely, was like, I have talked to you recently, I know you, we have just spoken, and I had just arrived like merely 13, 14 hours from Michigan. Never seen me before in his life, so. Yeah,
but
that
that's
happens.
a brotherhood thing, a brotherhood, sisterhood, family thing.
We recognize our family when we meet them, and we have deja vus or vuja days, as I call them. And
you know what I've been realizing is all through my life, all these millions of people I met and connected with in such real and profound ways, but just momentary for the most part, all were family.
Yeah.
That's why we run into each other. That's why we have those moments, the common heart we share.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And guess what? I bet if you look back on any of your lovers or close friends or any associations like that you've had, you're going to find, except for those that were really contrary to you, you'll know them too. But for the most part, you're going to find that familiar heart. Somebody you were at least somewhat comfortable with, you recognized in some way.
Right. And we talk about that in the book as everything is vibrational, everything is about frequency. And when we move into a certain frequency level or vibrational level, we begin naturally just connecting with others who are at that level. I mean, it's just the nature of this existence.
Yeah, you bring them to yourself. I mean, the vibration just attracts.
Yeah.
You know, I watched that happen in my life. You just pretty much, whoop,
No kidding. That's what I tell them. Just go out there and glow. You don't got to talk. You don't got to say a word. Just go out there and glow. Just
Exactly.
Just be. Just
And you
be.
will vibrationally draw in those who are at common level with you. So because of these great fields of light that we've moved into, there are many people on the planet. People say to me, are we going to make it? I say, there's no turning back. I mean, we are going into an activation where everyone on the planet will be activated, and can share more about how that works. And so many people are getting these kind of switches turned on where suddenly they're awakening to their greater self and who they really came here to be. And so Ken, why don't you share about your journey, because it's really a great story. And
oh, well, that could take some time. We'll do a short little version.
Well, no, don't be too abbreviated about it.
We got
an hour and 10 minutes. So you got plenty of time, man.
All right, so my.
See, that's the nice thing about this internet radio. We can be pretty relaxed here.
We got some time.
Yeah. And you know what I want to say before he goes into this too is he and I are in two different age groups, and there's a lot of you're about.
I'm turning 34 on the 28th.
Okay,
He's
so
an old man already.
I'm an old man.
But there's at his generational level, like people are coming in with their DNA more turned on and more activated, and so there's many people in his age group and younger. We know a lot who are younger who've also been drawn into our circles, who are already very, very awake and just looking for the path to tune into their own activation. So I think that's why your story, Ken, is so valuable, because you can help other people get that, wow, this can happen to me too.
Yeah, this can happen to anybody. Just putting in the diligence and intent and working on it. I mean,
it's mainly just recognizing intent, because that makes you diligent.
Oh, yeah. You need to just have intent on it.
Yeah, when you see it, where your flow is.
And put all your energy into it. And that was... Well, it all kind of started last fall, like in November. I had separated from my ex and was kind of living in a camper and out hunting, and I was starting to do more research on meditation and all things metaphysical, and was just kind of researching around. I had a real Christian background from my childhood and was kind of involved in that pretty extensive. So I was just kind of searching, and I did research in the past and about religions, and was kind of going down this whole other path.
And I think the cool thing about that early part of your life was you really were dedicated to, spending time in prayer and you doing hands-on healing and different kinds of...
Yeah, I was pretty, give you a little background on that, I was pretty, wrapped into, I went to a charismatic Pentecostal church, and healings took place. I went on mission trips. I was involved in the music, at the youth group and at the main church. So I was tapped in pretty good. I was, dedicated 3-4 days a week working at the church. So I kind of had that background and was involved with bringing in what you call the anointing, or now we know it as energy, but.
So you were through that kind of tapping into a natural ability that was there, but it was the only vehicle in our culture that was visible at the time to give you a way to begin accessing that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And you were kind of spending time in prayer, what we would now call meditation.
Oh, yeah, doing like deep prayer, like hours of prayer, what you'd call intercessory prayer.
Oh, yeah.
And we did, I've done 30-day fasts. Yeah, when I was in my teens. So, I did some wild things, some things that normal people didn't do.
The zealotry of youth, man.
Yeah, exactly. We had a pretty radical youth group that we started called The Cave, and it was pretty, we were radical Christians, as I would say. We were just more dedicated to spirit, about miracles, like making miracles happen, the group of us that were kind of together. But so anyway, I had that pass, but I kind of separated and was moved out, and stopped watching TV and just kind of put myself really into meditation. I worked third shift at a chemical plant, so I had a lot of broken up time. So I would get out of work and I would pretty much hang out in the morning, do my few things, and then I would meditate. and I'd meditate for like 2.5 hours, and then, you know, crash out. And I did that for quite some time, like at least 3 months I was doing that kind of meditating. And I kind of, you know, phased into it. I started meditating like in December.
And what age?
January.
What age?
What age meditate? This is just recently. This is
Like
Like
a
a
year
year
ago.
ago.
Yeah.
yeah. This is in
Okay.
December.
Yeah,
Not even a year
I want people
ago.
to get the time frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I had
Yeah.
learned how to meditate a couple years prior to that.
Yeah.
I read some books, but wasn't like a daily practice, and wasn't really going after it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in November, December, I was kind of like getting motivated. Started meditating like 15, 20 minutes a day. And then in January, February, it's when it really picked up for me. And started meditating more, and, you know, actually started vibrating, and then actually started spinning. And I mean, I was having unbelievable meditations. I mean, within 5 minutes, be into a full spin, just vibration in meditation, and started receiving all this information.
So a little switch flipped inside then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not even just the meditation like kicked in. That wasn't actually the switch flipping, as I call the blast.
However, you had made the choice to quit watching TV and
Yes.
just to put in the time to meditate.
Right,
So
and-
giving yourself that, if anybody just gave themselves that kind
Right,
of
and I was
break.
still,
Yeah.
you know, I drank every day. Even at that point, I was drinking, you know, on a normal basis. Socially, you know, coming home from work and having my beers and doing my deal, which is what I did. I mean, I got home from work third shift and drank some beers, hung out with my girlfriend, and then she went to work, and then I meditated. So, I mean, that was kind of like my routine. So to say that you can't, like, you have to stop drinking to, like, learn how to meditate would be ridiculous, because that's what I did. I mean, I had a pretty routine schedule, and I was just kind of into my routine. And it was weird, because
Getting out of TV was a big step, don't you think?
I think getting out of TV and moving outside was a big step, and just moving into just developing. I mean, all the time I spent watching TV, I spent with, like, looking up meditations and looking into information and, you know, research. I mean, I was kind of like in this really big research field where I was just kind of online, just seeking all the research I could about anything metaphysical, you know, anything about physics. I mean, just learning about, you know, the fields around our heart. I mean, just starting to learn things, the double slit experiment. I mean, I was just kind of like going into everything I could figure out about what really this place was, because I had my, like, assumptions in my mind and things that I kind of, like, figured out over this 10-year period of time when I had left the church about what this place really was. But I was getting back to that place of, okay, let's find out really what this is. I'm done. I know in my heart that it's one way. I want to figure this out.
So Ken just mentioned the double slit experiment, which Richard Feynman, who was one of the great quantum physicists of the last century, probably considered one of the founders of quantum physics, calls the double slit experiment the one experiment that explains how quantum physics works. And 21st Century Superhuman teaches a lot about this in very simple detail so anyone can understand it. Einstein says if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it very well yourself. So don't let the words quantum physics concern you, because in 21st Century Superhuman, all this is explained in the simplest way. But you can go on YouTube and look up double slit experiment. There's numerous videos on it. It's an experiment that shows that when they actually used two screens, and this experiment was done in the 1800s, they shot electrons through a line in the screen, and the line they thought they would land flat on the screen. I mean, in a straight line on the screen. Instead, they landed in a splatter pattern, which said they were still in wave form. And then they sent somebody up to watch it to see why that was happening. And suddenly they shot the electrons through the screen and they landed in a straight line. Well, this one simple experiment. It's been done thousands of times around the world by all these different scientists. It's called the most beautiful experiment. It teaches how it is our thoughts or our attention on the field of possibilities that calls reality into being. And so those dots could only land in a straight line when there was an observer, and the observer could be human or it could be mechanical, amazingly enough. So Spirit Science is a really great series of videos on YouTube, and they explain things really easily and simply. I think Drunvalo Melchizedek is involved with them, but they're kind of like cartoons, and they explain Spirit Science. It's really great explaining all this.
I think I've seen a little of that.
If you want to look up this quantum physics stuff, like you can look up the double slit experiment with Spirit Science, and it's really great. Anyway, I just wanted to jump in and explain what that was so people would know.
Yeah,
and it's in 21st Century Superhuman. It's really a key part of our explanation as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So on with the story, Ken.
On with the story.
Let's see, we were by the campfire and we just had a sip of what?
That's good. So, yeah, I mean, I was just getting in and meditating a ton and having some wild and amazing experiences. And I was starting to work with toning. So I had learned some exercises as far as toning for pineal gland activation and getting all that kind of charged and working on opening up all my glands and chakras. And so I was kind of in that phase, and I was having experiences inside my head and itchiness and this weird feeling in my head for about a week, and was getting some good results. It started moving into where I had found people that were doing telekinesis, and started kind of messing around with that.
And what is telekinesis?
Is moving things with your mind.
Just like
there is no spoon.
There is no spoon. You are actually moving around the spoon, or the spoon isn't moving. You're moving around it. But saw some videos on cloud bursting, which is disappearing clouds, and was kind of like, okay. So I started exploring on with that a little bit, and actually was having results, and was like, okay, this is starting to get very interesting.
See what I mean, guys? It's Turn It Loose week on the Coyote Medicine Show on the Hazy Radio Network. Just cut it loose.
Cut it loose.
And it's like starting to play with things that we've always thought were just the way they were in the world around us.
Test the limits.
And again, this is there's so much is true so far beyond this that we're just awakening to.
Oh yeah, well just let yourself. You don't do it like a teenager would. You don't go out there and butt heads with it. You expand into it, babies. Just give yourself this time he's talking about to meditate. I call it communication because I see it with the heart. And it's reuniting the heart and mind. There has been a separation of our consciousness in our perception that's allowed us to become stupid and live from an analytical mind that can't figure out shit.
Yeah, we do connecting the mind and the heart.
It's like a dry computer.
Yeah.
That we reconnect them. We're doing that communication thing, that meditation thing. Babies, you got to be there. See where it led him. Continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interfere, but I had to lose meditation.
No, it's all good.
Clink, clink to my Coyote Club members, babies. You all rock, babies. Yeah. May there always be love, man, forevermore, baby.
Yeah, connection of mind and heart.
Damn right.
So I was just kind of like experimenting around because I'd seen people doing it and seen these videos, and it was probably a week or so after I started experimenting with that. I had this meditation. It was Saturday. It was May 7th, Saturday, and was on the couch in the living room, and the meditation was pretty regular, and I was actually sitting up. I wasn't laying down, and I had a kind of a buzz still in my head, and I got up and I went to the counter, and I was at my girlfriend's house, and so I was watching this video on spirit guides, just that was on my phone, and I had just finished, when I was at the counter, I had just finished doing pineal gland just this buzzing that I do to vibrate the pineal. So my crown chakra was kind of starting to light up, and I was watching this video, and all of a sudden my crown chakra lit up like crazy, or just like a ring on my head. And then I just felt this energy come in, and I got this sense to go to the bedroom. So I went to the bedroom and sat on the bed and was like, okay, because I had been asking, during this whole period of meditation, I had been pretty much requesting for like a divine, I wanted a source energy, I wanted to, I wanted a real strong connection. I was looking for, like, I was done playing games, I wanted exactly what I was after, you know what I mean? I was like looking for divine energy. And so when I sat in the bed, I was like, okay, I kind of knew. I was like, all right, this is it. And it was like, yes, like this is it. And I was like, okay. And so then I got the sense to go outside. So I went outside, opened the slider for the master, and went outside, and there was this chair just sitting out there on the deck. So I went out, sat out like on the middle of the deck. And I got this sense to do just this visualization of like tying my energy down into the core of the earth and then bringing it back up through my body. So I just connected in and did that visualization and visualized that the energy cycling through. And as soon as the energy came back up to cycle through, I saw the word love like on a chalkboard, like written in my mind. And then as soon as that wrote across, I was, blasted with more energy than I have ever felt in my whole life. And I looked at my hands, and I was like dematerializing, like everything was like all spread apart.
Light body stuff.
Yeah. And I've seen my light body before, but it was like to even a more extent. It was like, whoa. And I got all freaked out. I like jumped up and like ran back tried to go back into the house, and ended up like hitting my face, like my head, which I didn't notice till later, but it hit like my forehead on the edge of the door.
Wow.
And as hard as I hit, I should have like gouged myself, but it was just like a red mark. It was very weird. And so then I ended up getting in the bedroom, and I lay down on the floor because the vibration was so intense. And I ended up laying there for probably like 25 minutes, and all this clear fluid came out of my nose, like, and I kept thinking it was blood. And my mind, like my monkey mind at that point, because I had been working on like my dome mind and being in non-thought meditation states for hours, so I knew what it was when it came up. But it was like the most intense, like reptilian flight, the fight or flight mechanism came in so strong when I was laying on the floor. Like it was literally telling me to, like, you need to call 911, you need to go to the hospital immediately. Like it was like screaming it, you are dying. Like it was convinced that I was dying. And like I had to like flee. But I just knew that what it was, which helped because I'd been meditating for so long. I recognized it. And
I'm getting a current going through me while you're telling this whole story. I feel like I'm in a completely altered state.
Yep. This place is like a powerhouse.
It is. It's like we're sitting here in this big tube of light or something, and just vibrating at another level.
Yeah. Hey, and guys in the chat room, I'm sorry we're not chatting right now, but if you got questions, just go ahead and ask away. We'll see the screen. I just have difficulty reaching my typewriter right now, and I have to keep my eye on the technical side and make sure that the sound's going out proper and everything. So forgive me, but if you want to ask something of these people or myself, go right ahead, baby. We're an open forum, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, continue. I'm totally fascinated with your experience here. So many cross correlations, unreal.
Yeah, that's wild. So I was just laying on the floor, and I was conscious, but I really couldn't move once I got onto the floor, and I could just barely move my hand. It was like looked at the fluid a few times and knew it wasn't blood, but it felt like the consistency of a bad bloody nose.
Wow.
So if anyone's had a blood, that feeling of it rushing. That's what it felt like, but it was clear. So that lasted for, like I said, probably 25, 30 minutes. And my girlfriend had this year-old German Shepherd that I liked, and I liked animals, but it was kind of an irritating puppy, and so I didn't have like the best relationship with it. And didn't know it that well. And I had this real sense to go lay with the dog. Like, I could start to move from the floor. And so I crawled, like, out of the master down the hallway to where the dog was quarantined off because it was blocked off in the other entryway. So then I climbed over that fence and then went in and laid with the dog for, like, another 35 minutes. And that, like, actually made me feel better.
Yeah,
like, there was a transfer of energy. It transferred the energy into the dog. And yeah, the whole time this is going on, by the way, the dog is going nuts. So while I, come back in the house and go onto the floor, the dog is hooting and hollering like, sounding like you're killing the dog this whole entire time. That's what the dog's doing. So then I go in and lay with the dog, and then the dog's like whimpering and crying as I'm like holding the dog, and I just hold the dog for like 35 minutes.
Well, they're
and
very
it gets
sensitive critters.
Oh yeah, he definitely knew what was going on.
Dogs.
Yeah. So Roscoe was his name.
Oh, cool.
Roscoe. But he exited shortly after that. Which was weird, his exiting. He just pretty much ran out the road, and purposely got hit, which is very odd.
And my dog exited after I went through this really deep awakening when I began writing the book. My dog exited shortly after that, and Grandpa, you upgraded and your dog exited. And we had, Michael Grubb had the same thing. So we kind of, that's an interesting little piece of...
Well, they're like probably playing on the divine side what they used to play for us on this side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I feel my dog with me
They
a
pulled
lot.
me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
But, so I laid with the dog and felt better, got up after that, kind of made myself to the mirror to, like, look at my face because I... felt my head was like kind of felt weird, and I saw the mark, and I had a little mark on my face here, and I was like, whoa! And my vision was so wild. Like my eyes were completely dilated; they were black. You couldn't see any color in my eyes; they were all black, and I pretty much was dripping full DMT because I was like hallucinating, literally.
And maybe you should explain what DMT is just really quick.
DMT is released from your pineal gland. It's the spirit molecule.
And we have a big chapter on this in the book as well.
It's an access to the divine, yeah. I'll be right back.
You get me one of those?
Here, just take this one, and I'll make me another one here in a moment. I just got to go see them.
So in the book, 21st Century Superhuman, there is a chapter called DMT, the spirit molecule. And DMT is put out by the pineal gland. It's kind of a happy chemical. The pineal gland is in the center of the head, and ancient Egypt really had a lot of cosmology built around activating the pineal. So when we are, and in most adults in the modern world, the pineal gland is calcified by age 8 because we have forgotten how to use it. And that's why Ken was doing buzzing to activate the pineal gland, and he teaches that when we do live workshops as well. We're also developing a course called Decoding the Matrix, which will be online, which will cover some of that. But anyway, when we're, DMT is kind of a happy chemical like oxytocin and epinephrine, some of our natural chemicals that the body puts out. And yet when it is active, we go into a state of oneness. And it is that state of oneness. It is really our true nature. And we're in the middle of reclaiming that.
Yeah, definitely. So it was a wild experience coming off from the floor and kind of reacting to that. And then the girlfriend ended up showing up, and I had.
So you said you were in a full DMT drug at that point.
Yeah, like I was full because I had been accessing DMT for a while in meditation. With going that deep into meditation, I had learned online all about the pineal gland, I had watched and learned and researched, and so I was learning how to release DMT with meditations and toning, and I was learning how to like shift into another consciousness space, in between like the spirit realm and this realm, like this in-between state, where you can literally, see the hologram for what it is. And move energy in a way in this state that is unlike, a normal state of mind as you expand your consciousness into everything. So I already knew what was happening, but the vibration was the vibration I was feeling in my body was like the highest, violet wave form. It was just like, it was wild. And so my girlfriend had just showed up like 20 minutes after that. And I'm like, we've got to go to the beach. And I told her what happened, and she was like, whoa. So, and we had been meditating together, and we're dating for maybe 4 months. So she was kind of with me through this whole process. And yeah, we went to the beach and pretty much just sat on the beach and meditated for like probably another 3-4 hours that day, and had a lot of interesting travels. Saw a lot of things. I'll share a few of those with you guys. I had this one that was pretty incredible where I was levitating, and I went out into Lake Michigan. So I kind of was levitating out in the middle of the water, and there was waveform, like a big ripple around me, and the waveform was like going out, like ripples from my body. And then I started doing ohms and toning, and I was only levitating probably about 3 feet off the water. And as my toning increased and it got deeper, it actually grew, like the waveforms grew, and they were like 6 feet tall. These big, tight, like that same vibration going out in every direction. And they increased and they increased, and then they were just like, skyscraper size. So there was very definitely interesting things that I saw, and moving actually sand and earth up into dune space on the beach, and folding trees down into the earth, and then having all this new growth come up out of the earth and grow in like really fast time space. And when I was doing these meditations, it felt like I was actually off the ground. I was sitting in meditation face with my spine perfectly straight, and I could feel the ground underneath me in wave form. And I felt like I was about 6 inches off the ground, even though I was sitting on the ground. Yeah, unbelievable meditation.
Sometimes you literally are off the ground, but you're not consciously aware of it. You feel the feeling, you think, oh, that's just my soul presence. And you don't realize till your bum bumps back down on the ground that you're actually off of it.
I could have been off of the ground. Yeah. I had some pretty wild, what I call waveform vibration meditations, where it feels like I'm off the ground, and it feels like I'm riding on a really tight wave. Yeah. That's all I can describe it. And you're like
surfing.
You feel like you're just kind of floating on this wave, and you do actually feel like you're tied to the earth, though. I feel like this little cord that comes out. Yeah. Especially when you really start spinning really fast, and you get into like the high intensity, like I call it the 0 point or the source energy. It's like where all the information comes in. Yeah. So if you can, because that's where you can like pop into like dimensional space, like pop into another realm or astral travel, but you want to like hold it. I teach people to. I
never leave my body, but I go everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's all inside.
It's all inside. When people get that really misconception too, which I can talk about for a second, that you don't actually, when you astral travel, it's not like you're leaving your machine. It's like a little probe of you that goes into that space. Yeah. So people, and people have always thought about, oh, we got to have this cord connected, or think of the cord. No. It's just like a probe of you. You're so vast. You're already oneness with everything. So it's just like an idea or another little speck of you going into that space. But I try to tell people to hold that vibration and to sit in that spin or that high vibration, because that's where I literally got most of the information, was from downloads in that space.
Yeah.
And then what you really did too is sought out, like you ended up finding Michael Grubb with Evolved Ministry, and we really encourage. I mean, this is one reason we have Evolved Ministry and Evolved University and the 21st Century Superhuman team traveling and teaching these things, because we know people need it's nice to have somebody else to tap into and have a little guidance and support when
Right,
you start tapping in at this level.
When I had the cloud bursting stuff, like previous few weeks, I had found videos. Michael Grubb, Astral Salts, which is on Facebook as well. He was doing videos, and he is a teacher at EM as well now. And so they were kind of helped, like, because I was having these experiences from getting into these meditation states where I was being able to move things. I went out and was connecting with the trees and meditating outside, and I was just putting my hand up and literally watching how the trees were mimicking my movements, and was taking videos of it and like watching the videos and being like, oh my gosh, it is happening.
And Ken is teaching us how to do these things as well, so it's not limited to just him.
No, everyone can learn this. These are, I mean, what we are teaching at Evolved Ministry is, it's literally how the human form was supposed to operate in this hologram. It was like things that were lost and things that were forgotten. And I mean, so we're just connecting back with we're re-remembering our original state of beingness.
And many of them were held in ancient cultures and carried forward, which we talk about in 21st Century Superhuman.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has been disguised and hidden and contained in different vessels and vehicles through life to bring that energy forward. Yeah.
And then in the suppressive culture, they had the idea of witchcraft. Like it was witchcraft if you could do something
even that
paranormal.
carried an energy of love with it.
It carried an energy of love. So we have all these sort of confusing, I remember when I first started learning this stuff, and I had these confusing filters in my brain that were from the old culture that said, oh wow, am I supposed to be doing this? And I went, of course I am. This is ridiculous. But we do have old filter mechanisms from thousands of years of human culture. Also, many of us have ancient knowings of having been part of ancient tribes and ancient peoples who carried these things forward. And we address this a lot in the book. And so it's exciting. I mean, when you get with somebody like Ken and just realize how natural and how simple it is to actually do these things. I mean, we do a workshop and Ken starts teaching these basic skills, and just literally anybody can walk out and begin moving the trees. It's just
right. If you're already been holding in that state of mind of unconditional and working on yourself, I mean, the system or the environment will show how much self-control you have inside by how it displays on its movement and how much energy it will share with you, for sure. Yeah, so, I mean, I was already doing that kind of stuff, and so, yeah, they just have really helped me, but, so I got back from the beach, and, you know, it was an amazing deal. The rest of the night was wild. Still in an altered state that evening. Again, I was, you know, a beer drinker, and so Saturday night came along, and I had no inclination to drink, like at all. Didn't want to drink. I actually had a half a case in the fridge ready to go. My girlfriend really didn't drink, only when I would drink, you know, on the weekend quite a bit, but yeah, totally like fell away. It was very, very strange. And I had all this information came through in those meditations on the beach on like kind of, I don't know, just things I should do, and you know, just a lot of information, and you know, I kind of like completely had this different change about my diet, and ended up going on like a detox right after that. I just did a juicing diet. End up getting these like green powders at the health food store, and just started like purifying my body right after this happened. And that night there was actually a storm system that came through, and it ended up, I always watched the weather because I was a painter, and so I knew the storm was coming through, and I popped it up on my radar, and as it came into Muskegon where I was at, it split apart. It was a big red band, and it came right there, and it just split apart and then split back. I was like, that's kind of weird. Very strange. And so the next day happened, and I worked third shift, so I was going to work Sunday night. It was weird all day. Still, you know, my eyes were still quite dilated.
Can I just jump in and say something about your purification process? As we allow ourselves to go through this kind of waking up, you know, we begin disengaging from some of the hypnotic patterns of our culture, which television is, of course, one, and we start following that inner journey. There is this natural inclination to want to purify the body, and it's just natural. It isn't like you have to force it or anything, and it's exciting because there's so much information available, and the fourth part of 21st Century Superhuman is just simple step-by-step all about that, and so it's a cool, exciting aspect of it, I think. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in because you definitely live a pretty clean life. You know, I'm always excited when I meet other people because I've been developing it for so many years. But when I meet other people who are kind of turned on and they're like, yeah, I like to eat healthy food and I like to eat simple, and I don't know, it's just a good part of higher frequency living. I
always ate a good diet. I came up, my mom was kind of like a vegan, but I still ate meat and I still would eat stuff, and I loved like gummy sugar candies and was crazy about sugar, and I mean, I was eating
crystalline energy, baby.
I was eating, you know, bags of these at night at third shift. But it was weird. After this happened, literally everything fell off. Like, I mean, I still smoked. I'm a smoker, and you know, the cigarettes didn't fall off, but everything else did as far as nutrition and drinking. It was like, whew. And yeah, I went through this real purification. And then pretty much everything had changed once that happened. I mean, I felt like a completely different person. I vibrated on a daily basis. My ESP was like full blown, like everything was opened up. Like, and then literally every week it got more intense. You know, I was involved
synchronicities, telepathy.
And I had a lot of wild experiences after that. I mean, it kind of just goes on and on. I mean, it like my life completely changed, and it became like literally like a movie. I can't describe it other than that. I mean, I was involved in another energy school system, and had some pretty interesting experiences with an individual.
And they may have been dabbling more in the dark side, or whatever you want to call it, of this energy.
Yeah, I got to
embrace them both, baby.
Yeah, I got to learn about people that absorb energy vampirism, and I just had a lot of experiences, you know, that I was kind of like that I needed to like learn quick, and it's just like allowed me to facilitate. And then meeting Michael Grubb, and pretty much meeting him right when I was down there when they were starting Evolved Ministry, and just the teachings through him, and I mean, his guidance has just been phenomenal. I mean, everything I've gotten through downloads in my meditation has completely resonated with everything that he teaches. I mean, the guy rests in unconditional love. I mean, he has gained some information that is super beneficial. He's been working on this curriculum forever, and is finally now getting to put it out there.
And again, it's a vibrational match between you guys coming.
I mean, we just linked. Yeah, it was literally. I went through a bunch of stuff. I was trying to set up one-to-one training with him because my the side effect to my vibration going up was all these abilities, and you know, he was doing the same things I was doing on film. You know, and I was like, okay, well, he's having the same experience as I am. He can hopefully give me a sense. And so it just... And
then that's how you and I met, was because I started seeing Ken's videos on my Facebook. They were showing up on my Facebook for some crazy reason, of him moving the energy in the trees and the water and the fire, and I was reposting them. And then all of a sudden 21st Century Superhuman showed up on his feed, and he's like, wow, I got to meet these people. I'm a 21st Century Superhuman.
Right. I was like, this book really, just hearing the name, I was like, okay, well, you know, she's talking about quantum, so she's probably figured some stuff out.
And we just happened to be in towns right next to each other in Michigan. So.
Yeah, that was really weird. We were conveniently, like, literally 5 to 6 miles away from each other.
Right, and so we got together. He got together with our whole group, our whole 21st Century Superhuman team. We just met at a park and started doing energy exercises together.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
I just love it, man.
So it's called Drawing In People of Matching or Similar Vibration.
In case you're just tuning in, this is Coyote Medicine Show on the Hazy Radio Network, once again with your host, Grandpa Coyote, here with special guest stars Cary, Ellis, and Ken, man. We are rock. These are 21st century superhumans for real. And forgive me for stumbling on that. It just doesn't want to roll off my tongue right for some reason or another. But these guys are rocking, ain't they? Just wanted to throw in a little station ID, let you know, baby. They're talking about unraveling the divine mystery inside of yourself, empowering yourself, finding personal empowerment. And Ken here is sharing his tale of how it's happened all in the last year or so. His complete turnaround from a life in the land of pain and suffering to a life that's a fucking adventure, like you wouldn't believe, man. You know, it's
literally.
This is, and blazing the trail for a lot of others in the process, baby. So listen up. This is happening for you too, even as we speak.
It is,
babies. Yeah.
Grandpa, I love the way you put things. I just love it. I just want the whole world to be listening to you.
Well,
because it is a flow, you know, and you are right on.
Well, that's what you do, babies, and I just live it so you can live it too. That's all. You know, I'm just a humble little servant of humanity.
Yeah, we all are.
What a coyote thing to say.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Because I can bite them on the ass pretty hard too. I've been nice so far.
We all get nicer as the days go by.
Oh, I tell you, I'm feeling like an old softy. I'm turning into
deepening the
an
love.
old woman inside of a man's shell, man. You know,
deepening the
funny.
heart.
Oh, I'm so sentimental. It's really not sentimental. It's not even emotional. I just feel things. I feel things very...
Yeah. I mean, that love just transforms you when you really begin immersing in it, when you start letting go of the fear,
preconceived notions of what's what, you know.
All those old barriers of the old culture, and you start realizing the matrix or the world around us can only mirror that which we're putting out. You begin refining your energy in the world, and as we begin aligning with love, we just deepen that vibration inside ourselves, and our entire world shifts, and it is super cool.
Start with just an easy practice of just seeing everyone as yourself, and just seeing those people you work with that you don't like. You know, we all had them. I had this guy particularly that really, I mean, he would try to rub me the wrong way, and I had to start looking at him as okay, what about him is like me?
Right.
Okay, and what don't I like? And why is it so bad that I don't like that? So what's so bad about that? And then what's so bad about that? Well, that's not so bad. And, you know, you just need to break it down and say, okay, you know, I'm going to see this in unconditional love. This guy is me.
Right.
I am him. Like, you know, let's break it down and not feel this way. And as you do that, you will feel the vibration come in, and the more and more. And then eventually, I mean, you don't even feel that way. I mean, you have this total different view and feeling on it.
I remember when I was writing the book, and all of a sudden, because I'd been writing about this for weeks, and all of a sudden one day I went 180 degrees. I was standing in a new position in my world, which was, I looked at what was showing up in my world and saying, oh, look what my energy drew in today. Mm-hmm. How do I like this mirroring? You know, and if I don't like it, well, I have an old program inside myself that I need to let go of. This is thousands of years of generational humanity.
Let's talk about a little bit about that letting go of. Let's talk a little bit about... I basically essentially see that you energize that feeling or whatever it was, the negative behavior that you're perceiving. I embrace that with my heart's energy and love, and together we transform this into a more positive and productive energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's something that we do in the book, which is called canceling our goal, and it comes from the Aramaic. It's the way...
that's a brilliant work, man. I love it.
It's the way Yeshua taught, and what the words really said. In Aramaic, there's a verse that says, out of the heart come the issues of life.
Yeah.
But what it was supposed to be translated as is out of the unconscious comes the creation of life. But nobody had the context in those days to understand what the unconscious was. We have it today. And so out of the unconscious, and Harvard studies show that 5% of our thought is conscious, the other 95%, like the bottom part of the iceberg, is unconscious. So
when we're doing this healing work or this mystical work, then 95% is engaged.
It is. And we're working on doing that. We're working on accessing and clearing. And so the way we do that, if we go, oh, I want this person to be nice to me, then we can go, I cancel my goal that this person be nice to me. Because then we're kind of removing the push-pull, which is the unconscious pattern. And we kind of have to trick that unconscious, because whatever was stored in there was stored in the fear and terror of our generations long time ago. And so this is like, you can literally, today we have this great example of a computer program. We are upgrading the system. Right, we're upgrading our computer system. We're upgrading our software, and it's really beautiful. I mean, this is so simple. Again, as Einstein says, a 6-year-old can understand it. So when something comes up, we stand in a different position. We say, "Look what my vibration drew into my reality today." That other person, whoever they are, can only be a mirroring of me. And so we breathe, and we smile. And we cancel our goal that that person be nicer, and we center in love, compassion, and gratitude. And it's that simple. I mean, that's sort of the science of it, which is super cool.
We let the feeling come up, and we feel it, and then we let it go. I mean, you just...
It's simple, and it can be really fast. And it's, once we get it, the only hard part is our old program that says, oh, it can't be that way. I remember when I first started, I said...
Oh, there you go.
There you go. There's a confirmation. When I first started, I said, oh, it's got to be at least partly his fault. And my friend Dr. Michael Rice, who had studied the ancient Aramaic, who's in the book, was teaching me this stuff, and he said, nope, it's all you. And wow, that was a big deal for me to get. And I think it's a big deal when first going over that hump of, really? That other person isn't doing it to me? And let's remember, rage, fear, blame, judgment, and control. When blame is thinking somebody out there is doing it to us. And in quantum physics, we say there is no out there, because all that can be revealed to us is coming from a vibration inside of us. And I know this might sound a little complicated in some ways, but we have to actually activate new brain cells. You know how scientists say we only use 10% of our brain? It's because we've been living in this shutdown state. And as soon as we start waking up, we start opening up all those other brain cells.
Union of heart and mind, and that's what opens it up.
Right. So
that's where it's attached to. That's what's shut down is the heart. That's the subconscious right there.
Exactly. And the heart and the right brain are directly neurologically connected. So the more we go into our creative, loving state, the more we activate those brain cells. So this is about activating new brain cells that we haven't been using. And as we do, we start getting it. You know, it just like...
Literally, it opens up. I mean, there's abilities that you have that, and those unaccessed...
You talk about walk on water. You go water skiing without a boat, man. If you want to go parasailing at the same time, dude, it's the same way, baby. You know? Just have some fun.
Yeah, it's a daily practice, this mirroring, as what Cary was talking about. This is something that you do on a daily practice, and you will be put in situations where you will be triggered, and the mirroring will take place, especially with these waves of energy that we've had coming in, where we're aligned in the system of planets and how it's all moving, especially in the last few weeks.
Big solar flares.
People have been definitely getting their triggers the last few weeks because of what we've been going through. And, you know, you need to be aware of it, not just blow it off, and see the emotions as signals. The emotions are only signals. And don't get wrapped up into the emotion of how you feel and how it makes you feel and this and that and this person. No, it's you. See it as a signal. Say, okay, what is it showing me? And go from there. I mean, you have to be more...
Cool. Love seeing you guys' messages in the chat room. They're awesome. Yay for getting it, you guys. Super cool.
I'm sorry, again, I apologize for not being on the board there, but here we are, sitting way back from the computer so we can talk to you here and videotape it too, etc. So, babies, we love you. I'll just throw a little smiley face at you every now and then. If I could reach over and do the heart, I'd do that, but I can't do that with just one button click. So, oh well.
We send in love.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all being in the chat room. I love my family over there. We just have a great time every show, man. You know,
I know.
yeah.
I've been in the chat room some. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a great crew.
Yeah, they're a bunch of crazy folks over there.
That's good. Sometimes they're the ones that are the most awake.
And the most aware and the funnest to be around. I mean, you know, who would you want for your movers and shakers? You want some sour asshole that lives in a morgue? Or do you want somebody that parties their ass off? I mean, you know, and is happy with life and shit, you know? Give me the happy people any day of the week, you know. Let them set the temper and the mode. Don't give me somber old presidents that got their finger on the trigger, you know. Screw that. Billy the Kid could shoot his finger before he ever even pushed it. So, I mean, guess what? You're powerless, dude. Get in the flow.
Get in the flow.
We love you guys.
Yes,
we see your
do.
notes of love back to us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you guys rock, man. I love them, man. It's my family over there. You know, I just, wow. This has been, this radio show, I've been, like 10 months now or something like that. Just rocking and talking and, just, you know, shaking and baking. And, man, we have grown so far as a family, as a unit, you know. God, last week, incredible. This week, I mean, I feel it right now, the incredible connection and the closeness of all of us.
Yep.
When I said, you know, I was led to say, but in the promotional thing for this, what was it, 3 beautiful souls, 1 beautiful ride. And that's exactly what's happening here. But the bigger dynamic is our larger family and the audience here that are really just, you know, as close to us as if they were sitting right here on my lap. Come on.
Yeah, as we rise to this vibe, we enter into oneness, which is just really super cool.
Oh, we did it. We're creating moments all the time here, and I'm sure you guys do it in your seminars too. It's like, wow.
I posted some pictures on Facebook of our tour journey the other day, and my contributing author, Teddy, who's not on line much, but she's back in Michigan, friend of about 35 years. Anyway, she wrote us a little card that we put on she taped it to our dash, and it says, "Travel as one."
Yeah.
Very cute, with her little hearts and flowers.
It is. Well, that's the secret to how we're going to gather together here in the physical presence. Travel as one.
Yeah.
Recognize the unity. It creates the energy that brings us all together.
So
we're doing that.
Yeah. You know, I'd like to get into something that Ken is good at helping explain also, which we have a saying in the book called arc the hologram. Like arcing like a rainbow or arcing like an arc welder. When we change, we live, quantum physicists actually tell us, we live in a hologram. And like if you took the holographic picture on a credit card and cut it up into little tiny pieces, which we should do with our credit cards anyway, and put those little tiny pieces of the hologram under a microscope, it would have the whole picture in that little tiny piece.
Yeah, that'd be the whole universe again. Yeah,
and so Rumi says we are the drop and we are the ocean, which is very interesting. And those are deep thoughts, you know. They're fun to play with and kind of go deeper into. But when we realize that we live in this holographic existence, and the second we shift ourselves, we shift the entire hologram.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's an amazing collective that we're in. And that's what's so exciting about this, because people say, oh, well, what about the war over there? And what about these bad guys? And what about?
Oh, they're so destabilized right now, it's unbelievable.
They are. And they're destabilizing because so many people are moving into love on the planet. We are shifting the entire hologram. And this is all we have to do.
Imagine the power of a united humanity. 10 billion, 7 billion, whatever it is. Imagine the power of a unified
and just
humanity.
Centered in one simple thing called love. That's all it takes. Everything else emerges out of that. Good ways to manage how we feed ourselves and transport ourselves on the planet. I mean, we are ready to emerge into and be living this civilization, and many are practicing it. I don't know. Ken, you want to throw out some things about the hologram?
No, I mean, that's just, I mean, that's other people's reality, the war and all that is going to happen. You got to understand, as the vibration comes in, and as the positive rate, you're going to have both the polarities charging off. Yeah. So don't even let that affect you. That's just a byproduct of the change. I'm going to make a
cartoon that lets people know just how it really works, right? So in a way that will rekindle the memory in them.
All right, and then once this balance clicks over, then that's just going to fade away, and then we're moving into that space, that unconditional love space of the hologram. I mean, we're bringing the 5D in.
Yeah, so what we want to know now is my old buddy Piney out there is asking this question: how do you define love?
You know, I was just, before we get into how do you define love, let's think on that for a minute. What I want to talk, because Ken mentioned we move into 5D, you know, and what does that mean? We have a whole chapter in the book on 4 and 5, what the fourth and fifth dimension is. And when we begin living in love, which is this state of heart coherence, which includes love, compassion, and gratitude. Love is really oneness with all things. It is recognizing that there is no separation. It is recognizing that everything in this universe is a mirroring of me, that there is no out there. When it says love your brother as yourself, I mean...
That's recognize your brother as yourself.
That's quantum physics.
Yeah,
it is. Recognize that your brother is yourself.
Yeah.
And so no more judging, no more, blaming. As we enter...
Well, except for those motherfuckers that really take advantage.
We all know, we were talking the other day about the movie The Dark Crystal. It's an old animated movie by Jim Henson, the same guy that produced...
I love him, man. Yeah, he's so creative.
He's so creative. And so that movie, the Masters of the Dark and the Masters of the Light are all moving towards the Crystal Castle. And I remember watching that a long time ago, and I'm like, oh my God, are the Masters of the Light going to win? Oh, are they going to win? And then all of a sudden they start merging into one another and saying,
integration.
We are again one.
Yeah,
and so
there never was a separation.
There never was a separation. So, I mean, this is like fodder for mind play. I mean, we really start playing with these ideas when we allow ourselves to
when you move into this dynamic you're talking of, then you deal with that dynamic, you do it so creatively, just like we're talking.
Yeah.
They unify.
Playful.
They unify.
Fun.
They unify. You start to recognize when you move beyond judgment, you start to get clarity in your innocent eyes.
Yeah.
All you can see in darkness is light. All you can see is love. All you can see in your experience and with it is your unified brother, your heart, coming back into oneness.
Yep, and the two are the polarities that we play in this realm. And
and it's just it's an illusion. The polarity,
and it's a learning.
Reality
it's a school.
Is creation, is expansion, and that definition of love. It's based on love. It's what makes creation come forward. I call it the mother love because it's nurturing.
Yeah,
it's
and
soft,
by going into the darkness or experiencing the darkness, we learn our desire to return to love.
Oh yeah, you've experienced the hardness, so you'll really appreciate the softness when it comes back.
Exactly.
Because inevitably it does. Because
so
hardness can't maintain itself.
So as we move into greater love, we begin accessing fifth dimensional existence, which is
beyond that,
fifth, sixth, seventh, which is higher vibrational existence. So we literally, it's talked about that we're going to move from a carbon-based body to a crystal-based body,
which is our reality in the first place. But I can't explain it right now.
I know we're not going to get into all that, but just knowing that.
Let's get back to what love is.
So I guess I kind of gave my definition. You guys can.
Yeah, I mean, love is really just being at that heart space with self, like the love of self, the care, the nurture, and seeing, like Cary said, seeing people
kind of like that
like
orgasm
yourself.
we had last week. That's love.
Yeah,
that's divine love in motion.
And the connection with everyone and the love, like you would say, what greater love is there than the one that lays down their life for their friend? Yeah. So in that space of gratitude, and that space of self-love, and like that you would lay down your life. I mean, that's kind of the heart space of love, is that ever loving character of love of self and love of one another,
and recognizing that other is ourself.
Right.
That is amazing. I mean, what is so super cool is that quantum physics is now teaching us through science what all the great spiritual teachings tried to teach us, which was we are one. This creation is emanating from us.
Yes.
And these are such mind-blowing concepts as we begin embracing them. It really does completely alter our existence. I mean, most of the three of us that are sitting here have given up pretty much our attachment to the material realm and the advertising of the world that wants to pull us in to something, to being attached to something that doesn't really have meaning. And we have chosen to focus our lives around the meaning of the heart.
Yeah.
If you're confused on what love is, like, start removing some of the stuff in your life and start getting back to, like, the basics things of, like, feeling what love is. I mean, if you're confused on what that love feeling is, get back to, like, what does that feel like? What does it feel like to hold in someone's embrace? What does that energy feel like? What does it feel like to hold your animal or look into the eyes of your animal? What does that feel like? The universe, I mean, it knows feeling. It knows feels like.
That's how we communicate, through feeling.
Yeah, so what does something feels like? Get back to that love space feels like.
Holding a newborn is what my friend Michael Rice uses, and holding a newborn is like our truly natural state. Ken's got kids.
That energy of the newborn is what lives inside of us, and that's what's coming forward.
It's what's coming forth.
That's what's bringing the consciousness.
Exactly what Cary said. I have a 4.5-year-old and 3.5-year-old, and when I hold my babies, I mean, that's true unconditional love for me.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, what I wouldn't do for my kids, and I mean, they are just special.
Yeah. And that's our pure state, that we get born into that state before the old programming starts setting in and
telling us not to like each other.
Yeah. The old what's really cool is these younger generations coming in now are also much more turned on and awake.
Oh, they won't take that bullshit.
They won't take it.
They got one of the most brainwashed school systems I ever saw over there in Oklahoma. The kids are just sitting there saying,
Yeah, it's true.
That's awesome,
it's true. So those of us that are here and awake and our older generations, grandparents, parents, we're here to kind of open up the pathway for these younger ones to grow into new ways of living.
Yeah, what took us years to accomplish, they'll get in 3 seconds flat.
And this is going on around the planet.
Pay attention to these young
feedback.
ones, because these young ones are going to be the leaders. They already are. Those in darkness use the collective.
No, he's saying he wants to feel love without involving anyone. Well, that the description of like what you'd feel in that space with someone else is the same thing you feel in self. So that's what I talk about with taking that feeling you might feel with someone and remember that feeling and relate it back to self when you're doing self work and feel that space about yourself, because you're not going to be able to feel that love unless you feel that love for self.
That's what
first.
love is feeling. Yeah. It's feeling it's kind of like what we feel at the very base thing of our, what we call sexuality, that thing that just has to go there and have that creative moment no matter what. It's kind of like, that's love. Well, and that's a warped version of it, but that's love. It's that compulsion to create, because to have that creative moment.
That was given to us to experience oneness.
Yes.
And it was given to us in the physical realm as a oneness, a higher oneness experience.
As a reminder of what we are completely capable of, and what we're here to anchor in the organic is that love fully and completely.
Yeah. Yes. And then too, the holding of a newborn, we can imagine ourselves being held as a newborn, or we can imagine, I mean, it's just what touch-in points do we have in this plane to give us that experience.
Yeah. And get quiet, if you're really wanting to feel unconditional love or feel the self-love of oneness, is just get into that meditative state and focus on those feelings of being held, or what you felt like being held like a newborn, or that closeness feeling, or the complete safety feeling. If there's a space that you have where you feel you're safest and you feel like you're comforted, then go in that space, and you will feel the energy of that love. And then just as you start to move in that love of self, you can move forward in love of others, because you really can't grasp the idea of unconditional love of others if you don't have love of self. And a lot of people don't have love of self. So I mean, the first thing you need to do is work on loving yourself.
Right.
I mean, look yourself in the mirror. A lot of people don't like to look in the mirror, but just look at your mirror and say, "Look at me. I am beautiful for who I am, and this is my person, and I love you. I mean, you can just say that to yourself in the mirror. I love you. You know.
Well,
and
there's even better ways we can't talk about it. There is better ways even than that. But that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
Good start.
It's a great place to start. Yeah.
Somebody said those in darkness use the collective ideals, and
Well, actually, when it comes right down to darkness and the light are the same equal force, and their energy is moving in the same direction.
They are in a learning process in the journey.
But they're unified, actually, in their purpose together. They serve together.
And we have to remember, they are us.
Yeah, it's not really the extreme. See, that's the lesson. It's not light, it's not dark. It's the reunion at the center of all feeling. And it's rooted in the organic Mother Earth's heart.
And when we see darkness in the world, quote unquote, we literally are carrying an old vibration in ourselves.
Yes.
That is allowing us to even
it's
see
creating that shit.
And so a good thing to do is say, I now cancel the goal that person be good, or that war not be happening, and I hold love on that situation. When I started doing that on Facebook, people started going, first they started arguing with me, and then they all started following me and starting to hold love in all situations. And that's kind of the transition we need to go through in ourselves. If we will see that as part of us, and we will begin holding love in that situation, we begin transmuting it. And
we transform
shifting the
every
field, arcing the hologram.
Love is a feeling.
Yeah.
Love
is not just a feeling; it's a power. It's an energy.
It's
that
a state of being.
I see it quite often as it really
frequency.
is. There's a glow between us that can't be described, but it's a living, visible energy that runs between us. It's very heart-centered. It's very heart-oriented. But it runs between us. It's actually 360 degrees, which interconnects us with all life.
And actually, there's a whole chapter in it in 21st Century
It's a visible experience
on this, and how Source is just pouring out all the time pure love, and all we have to do is remove our filters that are like the log jam in the river that slows it down.
Just tap into the field.
It is our true state of being, and it creates all things, and it is just amazing.
It emanates from the center of each one of us. Same in an equitous way.
It's our field. Our fields communicate. Our hearts actually communicate with each other's hearts.
I mean, that's
so all three of us here, our hearts are communicating.
We're in one big Taurus field right now.
It takes three always,
So I want to say really quick too. I didn't think to toss this out, but Monday nights I've been reading the book on a radio show and having discussion with a great person named Camy B, who. And she's really bright. We have these amazing discussions, and Ken's been on the radio shows a lot too.
Cool.
And so that is called Bridge to Paradise, and it's on
Blog Talk.
It's on Blog Talk. Bridge to Paradise. It's on Expanding You Radio, and it's Monday nights at 8:00 Eastern time.
Bridge to Paradise, Mondays 8 Eastern.
Yep.
8 p.m.
And that link will be on the 21st Century Superhuman website, which we're having to rebuild right now because we got hacked a few weeks ago. So
well, give your website anyway. Give your Facebook page and your IDs. If you want to give an email, contact, whatever.
21stCenturySuperhuman.com is my website, which will be back
21ST.
up. 21ST. Thank you, Grandpa. Yeah. And then Cary, Cary, Kirastar, Ellis, Ellis on Facebook, and then we've got a bunch of 21st Century Superhuman page group and events. And then Ken and I are both friends on Facebook, if you can find one of us.
Yeah, and then my name
Grandpa.
is...
You darn right.
Yep, and then my name is Ken. Last name is Chorley, and you can hit me up on Facebook. Contact me as far as links with Evolved Ministry, and we can get you set up with that and information, and connect with the demonstration videos. You can also go on YouTube, Michael Grubb with 2 B's. There's a channel up there with my videos and his videos, so check them out.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Yes, really, man. It's been an awesome time, and an amazing experience on the Coyote. Thanks for being here, baby.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us.
It's like family reunion time. It's getting that way here, babies. I tell you that. I know you guys feel the love out there.
The community of love is heaven
This is
on
like
earth.
Jesus, Joe, and rock and roll right here, babies. I tell you. And between the bunch of us, babies, we rule the earth
and
already.
And
it's total love, babies. It's total love. It's the divine harmony coming back to life right there inside of you, me, her, him. And bless you all, babies. Thanks for being here.
Love you.
Yeah, stay in it, baby. Stay in it, baby. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again, guys.